Sam Shepard, also known as Floating Points, burst onto the scene a few years ago with the album Alania, which was this IDM ambient type album, and it was alright. Not really something I was massively in love with. It was decent, but I think this new album, Crush, is quite a bit better. Crush is a bit more diverse in its sound. There are some really interesting influences that have come onto this album in comparison to Alania. We're hearing some future garage, we're hearing some progressive type electronic stuff, we're hearing some sort of like classical pieces as well with the piano led tracks. And considering it is fairly diverse, you'd expect it maybe to be a bit of a mixed bag, but actually it's not. I don't think it is at all. I think actually Sam here manages to make all of these tracks fit into one album, and it flows really well. Sure, there are definitely some weaker moments in the softer ambient type tracks, especially towards the beginning of the album, like that section is a bit slower, less interesting than what we get later on. But I do like the opening track though. It's really stuttery and glitchy. It kind of jiggers in and out of this peaceful ambient instrumental, and it's kind of like fighting against it almost. The glitchier sounds start to fizzle out and it slowly blossoms into the ambient piece, and it's really, really nice. Moving on into Last Bloom, which is much more future garage type of track, which again, that is apparent on a few of the tracks here. But yeah, this is definitely one of the stronger moments, I think, on the album. The next track, Anaxic Modular, is a track that keeps up the pace as well. It's kind of got this like really soft future garage type of instrumental. Like, it's not too, you know, in your face like you would get on a drum and bass track, but it's almost like, you know, just this soft instrumental, and it's kind of like peaceful but also hectic as well. Then it's not really as interesting for the next couple of tracks until you get to LesAlpx, which is easily one of the best tracks on the whole thing. It's a much needed change of pace, I think. Something that the album probably could have done more of, I think, because it's got this like trance IDM type of instrumental, which is really cool. Like, I was really hype when this track came on. It's almost got that progressive electronic momentum that you'd hear on a Chemical Brothers album, something like Further, or even the latest album, New Geography. I love the track Bias. I just think the slow build is really, really fantastic, and the payoff by the end, the way it just kind of teases you into it, is something that Ricky would call edging. Just makes you want the whole album to follow this direction because of what this track is able to do. I think the album could have done more of this. Environments after this though is quite interesting because it's much more of a bubblier track. Like, it has this really textured and detailed instrumental. Reminds me of something you'd get off of a Matmos album, especially the Plastic Anniversary album that came out earlier in the year, which I almost completely forgot existed, to be honest. It wasn't even a bad album, but I just think the novelty of it really wore off quite quickly, and I just forgot its existence. But hearing this track reminded me of that kind of like natural environmental feel of what you'd get on something that Matmos would do, and I guess that's the point of the song being called Environments, I guess. I mentioned the more classical pieces that come later on in the album. You get it with Birth. It's a lovely piano piece, and the track following on from that too keeps it up. There are just like little sections of the album where you get like, you know, clumps of like one style and then clumps of another style, and then you know, like little sections. I guess he's trying to just be as diverse as he can and throw in as much as he possibly can, and it generally is working, to be fair. It all comes full circle by the end though, with the glitchier intro and then the glitchier outro as well. It just really abruptly ends in such a strange way. I don't really know why. It's a very short closer, and the way it ends is just so disappointing to me. I think it probably could have been extended out further, maybe progressed onto some of the more IDM type stuff that we've got throughout the album. But it is what it is. We got what we got, and it's a bit of a shame, but what can you do? Still though, overall, I think it's really good. I'm gonna go a 7 out of 10. Definitely an improvement on his previous work, and some really interesting progressions onto new sounds and styles that really paid off. A surprisingly consistent listen as well, considering, like I mentioned, the changes of genres and stuff like that throughout. Maybe probably could have been a little bit more tighter, I guess. Maybe some of the slower ambient tracks could have been a bit more developed and interesting, but I still think what we got is really quite good. So yeah, as I said, 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think of the album. Hopefully you like it as much as I did. You might even like it more. Let me know what you think. Do have a good day. Bye. Subscribe. Goodbye.